From weird texture glitches to non-symmetrical buildings that trigger my OCD, this is over 10 minutes of completely useless information about Skyblock's hub. The bounce pad that takes you to the park has one of each sapling type on top of it. However, none of the craftable travel portals actually have saplings and instead have the respective wood type and leaves. In the builder's house, you can find a variety of different featured blocks, these being 6 different wood types, prismarine, and bricks. You'd think that the builder would sell these list of items, and while he does sell the prismarine and the bricks, he does not sell any of these wood types and instead sells their planks. I feel like it would be easy to change these from wood to planks, but oh well. The mine merchant and weaponsmith might have a little something going on between them. If you head upstairs inside their house, there's just one bed and not a very big one at that. There are banners shaped as beer bottles outside of the bartender's bar. This one seems pretty obvious, but everyone I asked about this said they didn't know these existed. These custom trees in the hub are all the same. They're just copy-pasted and rotated a few times to the side. If you compare them, you can clearly tell that they're the same tree. The zombie heads next to Maddox the Slayer are sideways. Personally, I think it looks a little out of place, as it would make more sense if they were upright, similar to the cave spider head here. The blocks near the top of the bank in the hub are uneven on one corner. Specifically, this corner is missing a block, and the weird part is that all the other corners do have this block, literally unplayable. The water tower in the wheat field actually has water inside. There's also a fairy soul inside, but I like that they took the time to add this, and it makes the hub feel a little bit more real. The fishing outpost has a window that leads to nothing. In fact, there's not even an upper floor, which begs the question why this extra extension of the house even exists. Inside of the alchemist potion-shaped house, most brewing stands are empty, but there is one brewing stand high up that is full of potions. It makes me wonder which ones the developers decided to put inside. Coach Jackrabbit has one of the few chests in the hub that would be completely unopenable due to there being a block on top of it. There are exactly 338 tiles of wheat in this field. Yes, I counted, and no, I'm not counting the other fields. Orphala and Ozana are the only NPCs in the hub that's names start with the letter O. Gavin is the only NPC in the hub that's actually sitting down. He also has some fish bait sitting next to him that's abnormally big thanks to it being a player head model. Captain Baja is actually named after a Mountain Dew flavor. Also, this is completely made up and I have no idea if it's true or not, but I'd like to think that it is. There's a random ender chest behind the house of the Dark Auction. Too bad you can't access it. The water in this tunnel does not flow properly. Please Hypixel fix your game, this is truly unplayable. You can take the bounce pads in the hub from above. I actually used this tip in my speedrun video of Hypixel Skyblock to get a top 10 time on the leaderboard. The redstone lamps in the hub are turned on despite not being powered by redstone. On top of the house where you get the ambiphone, there's actually a satellite dish, which is a really cool touch and makes a lot of sense. The awning next to this wheat field uses different types of wood for their fences. This only happens on one side and it bothers me a lot more than it should. In rare cases, zombies can glitch out of the graveyard and stand inside of this building. I don't know why this happens, but it would make for a pretty unfortunate death for new players. There's a random paint bucket on top of this awning despite nothing nearby being its color. This fence in the smithmonger's house isn't fully connected to the wall. I don't know how he sleeps at night knowing this is an issue. Anita has the only flower pot in the hub with a spruce sapling. Most houses in the hub have a bed built using blocks. However, upstairs past George, you can find some of the very few actual beds in the hub. I wonder what makes these guys special enough to have actual beds. This window uses 2 bottom door textures. I think trapdoors or even just normal doors would make more sense, but oh well. Bobby Joe has a random loaf of bread in the corner of his house. These 3 roof trims use vertical wood textures, but for some reason, this trim specifically uses a horizontal wood texture. These openings are missing trapdoors. These 2 are filled in perfectly, but this one's missing 1 trapdoor and this one's missing all 4. Vincent has a cyan paint bucket just outside of his house which matches the color of this roof. This implies that he may have painted it himself. There's a tree growing on top of this pillar in the Coliseum. Its roots aren't connected to the ground, but hey, it still looks pretty cool. The flags outside the dungeon hub are slightly uneven, with the most noticeable part being the missing block on the left part of this flag. The wool weaver sells more than just wool. She also sells glass, glass panes, and concrete. The clock on top of the community shop building actually functions as a real clock. It's even synced up with the in-game time perfectly. Not that you'd ever use it, but it's still cool to know that Skyblock put the effort in to make this a feature. The vines you see hanging down are just the bottom half textures of sunflowers. In the new hub update, which is probably already out by the time you see this, I hope to see some things like this replaced with glowberries and spore blossoms. These two flame designs are identical, which is weird because most things like this in the hub have slight differences. In the bartender's bar, every single beer is filled to the brim. Shifty's bar, on the other hand, has quite a few empty beers, implying that his bar is much more successful, not to mention there are actual NPCs inside. B sells every rarity of pet except for the uncommon bee pet. If you ever feel useless, just remember that this window exists on top of this house. I'm quite surprised by this because this house literally has an upstairs with some actual windows you can see out of. There are only 3 areas in the hub that use colorful glass panes as windows: Vincent's house, the community shop, and the Hex building. The community center is the tallest building in the central hub with a Y level of 103. That is, if you exclude this one way on top of the mountain, which has an insane Y level of 196. The alchemist house comes in a close second, with its glass panes coming in at a Y level of 99, which is actually tied with the height of the ambiphone building next door. There's a random torch inside of the gold blocks on the bank's roof. I'm not sure why it's here though, as mobs can't spawn here. Subscribing to the Bubblegum channel increases your magic find by 0, but it is a really good way to support me and I'd really appreciate it. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Hypixel does a good job of texturing most of its buildings and walls throughout the hub. For example, you can see the mountain uses different blocks of similar colors like concrete, clay, and andesite. However, the entire wall surrounding the graveyard is made purely of cobblestone. I'm aware it's been around for quite a long time, but I don't think this would have taken very much time to add in a few other blocks. There are only 5 pieces of sugarcane in the entire hub, and they're all located here next to the fisherman's outpost. I feel like they definitely could have added more near actual bodies of water instead of these bottom flower textures, but hey, it still looks good. The trees bordering the graveyard use a mix of oak and birch leaves. However, no other trees in the entire hub mix and match their leaf types, which makes me wonder why these got more detail than the others. These stone blocks aren't meant to be mined, which is clear by the fact that my titanium drill is mining at the speed of my hand. However, upon breaking this, you actually get the blocks and even get some mining XP too. And if for some reason you want to farm cobblestone this way, mining spread works too. You can actually rename the ship in the hub that allows you to travel to the backwater bayou. This is a really cool touch that I feel like not many people know about, especially since the travel scrolls exist. The Maths Enjoyer NPC in the hub will give you the exact formula for how magic power is calculated upon talking to him. If someone in the comments wants to fact check that, be my guest, but unless proven wrong, I'm going to believe it's real. Above Malik, you can find an iron and diamond chestplate hanging on this very scuffed and uneven dark oak platform. Next to Ophelia, you can find Hypixel's early attempt at making a candle. It's nice to see that there are actual candles in the game now, and I'm sure the new hub will make use of them. These iron bars appear to be some sort of jail cell, however there's nothing behind them, so maybe whatever was inside happened to escape. At the top of the massive mountain in the hub, you can find a house with a man named Scoop. What most people don't know is that by talking to him, you can actually purchase the snow shovel. Not all that useful of an item, but hey, this video is about useless information anyways. At nighttime only, random skeletons will spawn in the back of the hub. I'm not sure why you would go back here as there's nothing to do unless it's Halloween though. The bridge on top of the snowy mountain has collapsed. I'm not sure why or how this happened, but the evidence is clear as you can see that the wood has fallen down in the gap. There are a few signs around the hub that are intended to help new players find different areas. However, I feel there's quite a few missed opportunities with this. From a new player's point of view, I could totally see them avoiding other important buildings like the ambiphone area because it may not seem important without a sign. There are 6 arches in the top of this water aqueduct and 9 in the middle one. The roof of the wizard tower is the only place in the hub that you can find lapis blocks. Most buildings in the hub get some nice snow and present decorations during the winter season in Skyblock. However, the alchemist potion-shaped building completely transforms into a snowman. During the winter season, on top of the auction house, you can find a sleigh filled with presents. The Christmas tree in the hub has a star at the very top. Unfortunately, there are no gold stairs to make the star shape, so they had to settle on using red sandstone instead. And that's all the useless information I have today about Skyblock's hub. If you want to see a similar video for Skyblock's new and updated hub or somewhere else like the End or Spider's Den, definitely let me know down in the comments. If you didn't know, I stream my Hardcore Iron Man series here and over on Twitch, and I might even be live right now, so I'd really appreciate you checking it out. Thank you so much for watching this different Skyblock video, and I hope to see you next Friday.